Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Learning Path. This is Dr. B. Meena, Head Department of Commerce and Vice Principal, Shift 1 from Petition College of Arts and Science. In this video, I'm going to give a small intro about cost accounting. From this video, you will come to know what is costing, what is cost accounting, what is cost accountancy, and everything. Let me check the first slide. You'll come to know what do you mean by cost. A cost is the amount of expenditure incurred on or attributable to a given thing. That means whatever money we spend to get a thing or produce a thing is usually or practically we say cost. Cost represent resources that are being. Here it represents, say for example, if you are going to produce a product, we need material, labor, and other kind of expenses we are going to incur for producing a commodity. That thing only here represents as resources. So cost represents resources that are being or must be sacrificed to attain particular objective. Here, what do you mean by to attain particular objective means we are converting a raw material into a in order to get a final product. Cost is a measurement in monetary. Always we used to mention the cost in a monetary terms of the amount of resources used for this purpose. So by understanding the cost, that is looking at the slide, you will come to know what do you mean by cost. In the next slide, I try to explain how costing is different from cost. I said cost is the ascertainment of amount what we spent, okay, but costing is the technique we are going to use to calculate the cost. That's a real difference between cost and costing. Cost represent how we are going to what is the cost we incurred, okay, that is cost. And costing means the technique that we are going to apply to calculate the cost, that is costing, okay. Then costing here represents the cost of manufacturing a product plus cost of providing services. Cost of providing services means we can take the examples of expenses that we incurred while we are distributing the final products. That is cost of providing the services. Okay, so you understood what do you mean by cost and costing. The next slide, I try to explain what is cost accounting. The method of accounting of material, labor for manufacturing a product. Cost accounting is a formal system of accounting for cost. Cost accounting is defined as a system of recording and accounts of the material used and labor employed in the manufacturing of a commodity. Okay, so cost accounting is a systematic accounting, how we are going to calculate the cost in a systematic manner by accounting all the elements of cost. Here, I represent the elements of cost are material, labor, or any other expenses. So I explain what do you mean by cost, what is costing, what is cost accounting. Here I gave one more definitions. Definitions I gave. What is cost accounting? Cost accounting is a process of accounting for cost which begins with the recording of income and expenditure and end with the preparation of statistical data. So it means a specialized application of the principle of accounting in order to ascertain the cost of producing and marketing any unit of manufacturing. In this slide, you will come to understand what is cost accountancy. The application of costing and cost accounting principle, methods, and techniques of the science, arts, and practice of cost control. Here we represent what it is, cost accounting. So cost accountancy as costing, cost accounting, cost control, and cost audit. The next slide, I will explain what do you mean by cost control, what is cost audit. Already explained what is costing. What is costing? It's a technique. It's a technique how we are going to calculate the cost. Cost accounting means it's a methodology how we are going to accounting of the cost is going to be maintained. by considering all the elements of cost. In this slide, you will come to know what is cost control. A good company must always aim to control the cost, not only ascertain the cost. How to control over the cost means all the companies will set a estimation or the standard or the budget. What could be the material cost? What could be the labor cost? What could be the administration cost? What could be the selling and distribution costs in future? And they may have an estimation or they may have a standard. These standards must be compared with the actual material cost, actual labor cost, or any other kind of actual expenses incurred. If the actual is lesser than the standard means it is a good sign for the company. If the actually incurred is the cost incurred actually is more than the standard means it is not a good sign for the company. Then the company people will sit and analyze what are the reasons behind this, why the actual cost is more than the estimation. So we need to find out the solution to have a control over the cost. That is called as, what is that? Cost control. Look at the thing what I explained in the slides. Besides the ascertain the cost, the aim of cost accounting is also to control the cost. To achieve this aim, standard cost or budget cost is determined before starting the production. I said no, you need to have the budget as well as you need to compare the actual. During the process of production, efforts are made that the actual cost of the items does not exceed the predetermined or the standard or the budgeted cost. So this is the way how we can have apply the cost control concept in our company. The next is cost audit. The next is I'm going to explain what is cost audit. You know very well what do you mean by audit. Audit, everyone knew the meaning. It's a verification of accounts. Okay, the accuracy of the accounts. So in this same way, how we are going to have a cost audit for the cost accounting department. So look at the meaning. Cost audit is the verification of cost accounts and a check on the principle to the cost accounting plan. Audit is described as the verification of accounts so as to calculate their accuracy. Cost audit is a specific application of auditing principles and procedures in the field of cost accounting. It is an audit of efficiency and details of expenditure, whatever we stated in the accounts. I think all of them understood the cost audit. Next, in this slide, I want to have a small that is introduction about how costing and cost accounting will differ. I told you the meaning. Costing is a simple technique how to calculate the cost, how to ascertain the cost. But cost accounting is a methodology, how we are going to apply the methodology to accounting for all the elements of cost. Elements of cost are all material cost, labor cost, or any other expenses. Okay, so I can say costing is a technique. Cost accounting is a system. It's a formal system or the methodology how we are going to accounting for cost. Okay. Next, in this slide, I want to differentiate the financial accounting, how the financial accounting will differ from cost accounting. Everyone knew about both financial accounting and cost accounting will try to reveal what is a profit or loss incurred by the company. But this financial statements prepared by the companies for the financial accounting annually. But under cost accounting, as per the comfortability of the company, either it is go for a week or for a month or for a quarterly or a half-yearly or annually. So this is one of the difference between a financial accounting and cost accounting. Financial accounting will portray what is the profit or the loss for the entire, that is whole enterprise. Okay, but cost accounting will try to show the things, what is a profit or loss, what is the expenses in detail for each unit or each department or each process in a detailed manner. So that is the main difference between the financial accounting and cost accounting. So I explained the points. Both CA represent cost accounting. Cost accounting and financial accounting are concerned with the systematic recording and presentation of financial data. Financial accounting is a concern with the calculation of profit or loss earned by the business In cost accounting, detailed cost and profit data of various parts of business like departments, products, etc. are calculated. The main purpose of cost accounting is to provide detailed cost information to management. See, based on the information provided by the cost accounting, many decisions will be taken by the manager. Say, for example, we have a margin costing technique in cost accounting. As per the margin costing technique, we'll come to know for the companies, one who is producing more than two products. Say, for example, one company is producing product A, product B, product C. So the company wants to take a decision which product they want to produce more, which product they want to restrict the production based on the information given by the cost accounting, by the make or buy decision. Okay, and profitable decisions like that we can have the techniques in the marginal cost. So through this cost accounting we'll able to provide very important information to the management to frame a business policies. Okay, this is the real difference between financial accounting and cost accounting. And next is nature of cost. The nature of cost. What is the nature of cost? I can highlight the cost is both science as well as art. How it will be both science and as well as art? Science is always as a set of rules and principles. Similarly, cost accounting is also based on some rules and principles. It can be simultaneously as art. It is art because it is based on specific techniques and methods which will be used according to the knowledge of the accountant, and we can practice because along with the theoretical knowledge it requires practical training, so the accountant can do his duties perfectly. So this is the nature of cost I want to highlight in this slide. The next thing is objectives of cost accounting. What are the main objectives of cost accounting? Means first one is we need to ascertain the cost. Not only ascertaining the cost, we need to control over the cost. Cost control is differ from cost reduction. Cost control means we are comparing the actual cost with the standard cost. Here, this cost reduction means we can reduce any kind of expenses, any kind of expense. We could have avoid some of expenses while we are producing the product or distributing the final product. That is cost reduction. Guide to business policies. Based on the information provided from the cost accounting department, we can have it will be a guidance to the management to frame some business policy. I said based on the costing technique, the cost accounting department will able to give information to the management which profit is profitable, which profit is less profitable. So the company may take decision to produce which product or to restrict which product. Okay, so it will be a guidance for the company to frame business policies. And finally, without knowing the cost of production, we cannot set the selling price. Okay. After knowing the cost of production only, we will add on to the cost of production plus our margin of profit. So what is the cost of production plus my margin of profit? That tells you what is the selling price of my product. So for fixing the selling price, we want to know what is the cost of production. So these are the main objectives of cost accounting. I can say that is first one is calculation of cost, second one is cost control and cost reduction, third one is guide to business policy, and fourth one is determination of selling price. The next slide is very important, that is what are the elements of cost. Very important thing we need to discuss while we are discussing about the cost accounting subject. What are the elements of cost? We can say the elements of cost are material, labor and expenses. This three is called it as total cost. Again, this total cost divided into direct cost and indirect cost. And under direct cost, we can have direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. These three collectively call it as prime cost. Okay, I can say the other name for direct cost is prime cost. That direct cost, prime cost may be a direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. And apart from direct costs, there may be indirect costs also. So indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. All these three are termed as overheads. So the other name for indirect cost is overheads. So this thing I want to highlight in this slide. What are the elements of cost? What do you mean by prime cost or direct cost or indirect cost or overheads? In this slide, I want to tell you what do you mean by material cost, and then further I want to explain what is direct material cost, what is indirect material cost. Look at the meaning. It is a cost of commodities supplied to an undertaking for the production purpose. Material cost is not at all consider only the cost of purchase. You must consider the cost of purchase along with the freight charges. See, whatever expenses that you incurred for bringing the raw materials from the supplier area to the godown, our godown area. That means material cost is equal to cost of procedure. That means purchase cost plus freight charges. That is whatever charges, transportation charges that we are going to incur for bringing from supplier area to the our production unit. There may be a taxes. The taxes may be sometimes we can import the material from foreign countries. We need to pay customs duties. That also to be considered under material cost and mental insurance. Sometimes we need to ship in the material, raw materials from one country to another country. So if the raw material worth is no means, definitely we could have take insurance. So that is material insurance. So this three comprises as material cost. So what I'm trying to say, material cost is not only considering the purchase cost. It has to be included freight inwards. I mean the transportation charges along with the taxes that you're going to pay while you are getting the raw material from suppliers to our production unit. I think you understood what is material cost by looking at this point. Next, I want to explain what are the types of material costs. I said already there are two types of material costs. Direct material cost it may be, or it may be indirect material cost. What's the real difference between material cost and indirect material cost means? Say for example, if you are going to produce a chalk paste, you can see the chalk paste. Looking at the chalk paste, what kind of raw material it is utilized for producing a chalk paste. Okay, we can say definitely limestone is the raw material was used for producing a chalk paste. So limestone is the direct material cost. I can say limestone is the direct material cost where you can see the raw material in the final product. Okay, that was the meaning I gave. Direct material cost is that which can be identified with an allocation to a cost unit. It has become a part of the finished product. Example, I gave the example limestone in the chalk paste. Likewise, cotton used in textile mill, steel in machines, etc. So we can see the raw material, what kind of raw material made use in this final product. So those material costs are all considered as what is that? Direct material costs. Just opposite to that concept, what is that? Indirect material cost. We could not identify those raw materials in the final product. Take these examples: coal, oil, pins, nuts, threads. These raw materials, these material were supported, were supported for the production of the commodities. Okay, and these are all called it as indirect material cost. The expenses incurred on those material which are not directly chargeable to production are also known as indirect material cost. The amount of these expenses are small, but they are important in production process. Okay, so if in case any materials is identifiable in the final product means it's material cost. It is not identifiable in the final product means it is indirect material cost. I think by looking at this example, you will understand what is direct material cost, what is indirect material cost. Next, I will move on to the labor cost. Labor cost again will that is labor you know very well for converting a raw material into a finished product. We need workers. Okay, it can be a supervisor, it can be a foreman. Okay, so whatever wages and salaries provided, either any kind of welfare benefits given to the labor, are all come under the labor cost. Look at the meaning which is given in the slide. For conversion of metal into finished goods, human effort is needed Such human effort is called labor. The cost of remuneration of the employees on industries, salary, wages, bonus, etc. So labor cost is equal to, it includes all provident fund, gratuity, idle time. Idle time means in some of the government companies, most of the laborers will sit and discuss because they don't have the adequate supply of raw materials and power shutdown. But even those time, they will get the salary. Okay, that is called as what is that idle time salary, which is for holiday salary. So all this will comprise of labor cost. Okay, how again this labor cost will divide into direct labor cost and indirect labor cost. In the next slide, I'll explain what are the types of labor costs. The types of labor costs are all direct labor costs or indirect labor costs. Direct labor cost means those laborers directly engage in the production process. I can say foreman, supervisors, or the best examples of explaining direct labor costs. So whatever salary, whatever wages, whatever benefits, welfare benefits in the form of monetary I'm giving to them, to those who are directly engaged, involving themselves for the production of the commodity, or call it as direct labor cost. Okay. And another example I can say gatekeeper or the security or the watchman salary, whatever paid to them, whatever benefits paid to the watchman salary wise or anything wise I'm going to provide, it comes under indirect labor cost because he is not directly engaging in the production process. Okay, administrative staff I can say. So have this definition, the meaning direct labor cost and indirect labor cost. Okay. Next is expenses. So apart from the material and labor, we could have incurred some other kind of expenses during the production of the commodity. So all other expenses apart from material labor will come under this category. Again, this expenses will be classified into direct expenses and indirect expenses. Okay. So look at the explanation I gave. All costs other than material labor are termed as expenses. The cost of services provided to an undertaking and the cost of the use of owned assets is known as expenses. Examples are depreciation, any type of loss of material, rent of business, premises, and office expenditure, etc. The types of expenses in this slide, I explain direct expenses. Direct expenses which can be directly allocated to a specific cost centers or the cost units or something. There is another name for the direct expenses or chargeable expenses. Direct expenses, otherwise call it as chargeable expenses. What are the best example I can say to explain the direct expenses? Hiring charges, job processing, depreciation, royalty. Okay, these are all the best examples to explain direct expenses. And next classification under the expenses are all indirect expenses. Expenses which cannot be allocated to cost unit, but they are part of production process. These expenses are necessary to run a production process. Without lighting, without electricity, without incurring the repairs and maintenance of machinery, we will not have the production process in a peaceful way. Okay, so these all comes under indirect expenses. Okay. Next, I want to explain what do you mean by overheads. Already I told you all indirect expenses, either indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses, are all comes under the category. What is that? Overheads. These overheads may be factory overheads, office overheads, and sales and distribution overheads. Okay. What are the factory overheads or the other name for factory overheads, manufacturing overheads or production overheads? Whatever expenses indirectly or which is not directly connected with the factory is called as factory overheads. So factory overheads, I gave the examples here: indirect material, oil, lubricants; indirect labor, gatekeeper salary, storekeeper salary; indirect expenses, it may be a factory rent, it may be a factory insurance, it can be a factory lighting. So all these three will come under what is that? Factory overheads. Okay. So I can say whatever expenses indirectly incurred for in the side of factory is called as factory overheads. Next is administrative overheads. So we have an office department, administrative department in a company, and whatever indirect expenses incurred for the production of commodities comes under administrative overheads. Okay, so to run an office, it means office expenses. The indirect expense includes general and administrative expenses. So these all comes under administrative overheads. Next, I will move on to the selling and distribution department overheads. There is a selling department, there is a distribution department, and whatever indirect expenses incurred in those departments for the distribution of the final products as considered as selling and distribution overheads. Look at the meaning. Where the products are sold and finally dispatched to the customers, selling overheads means which is incurred for promoting sales, increasing the sales, motivating the customers to buy our product. Distribution overheads are those which start after the production process. It is related for the distribution of finished goods to the customers. So whatever expenses I incurred while I'm distributing my final products to reach my customers, those expenses are called it as selling and distribution overheads. I think by looking at this video, you come to know what is the meaning of costing, cost accounting, and what do you mean by cost and cost accountancy. What's the real difference between costing and cost accounting and financial accounting with the cost accounting? What are the objectives of cost accounting? What is the nature of cost accounting? What are the elements of cost? I think you understood by looking at this video. I'll post more videos on how to prepare a cost sheet and what are the features required to install a costing system in our company. If you want to watch more videos, please click the bell button and subscribe my channel to get more videos, to come to know what are the videos I'm posting in my channel. Thanks for watching. See you again in next video. Stay home, stay safe.